the pressure who no book. If you don't have no education, people treat you like a book.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial in this COVID-19 pandemic season. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at adding fractions. Now, before we add fractions, I want you to remember or to take with you equivalent fractions. Remember, equivalent fractions, if we're going to make fractions equivalent, we must have their denominators the same first. We must first make them have the same denominator, then we can decide. So that is the concept that we're going to be taking with us. Now, adding fractions. To add fractions, we must make sure that the fractions have the same denominator. So 1 over 4 plus 2 over 4, that's fine. That's quite okay because the denominators are the same. So what you do, you keep the denominator and you add the numerator. So 1 out of 4 plus 2 out of 4 will give us 3 out of 4. 1 out of 8 plus 2 out of 8 plus 4 out of 8. These all have the same denominators. So we do not need to do equivalent fractions because they all have the same denominators. All we've got to do is to write back the denominator and add the fraction, the numerators, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our answer is 7 out of 8. Now we're going to be looking at when the denominators are not the same. 2 out of 5 plus 3 out of 10 plus 1 out of 6. We're going to be looking at these fractions and we're going to add them. Remember, to add fractions, you must make sure that the denominators are the same. In this case, the denominators are not the same, so we're now going to make them the same by using equivalent fractions. We're going to look at the biggest denominator in this case because there's more than 2. So now I'm going to look at the 10 times table. I'm going to be searching the 10 times table for the first number that I can find that is in the 5 times table, the 10 times table, and the 6 times table. So I'm going to be searching for a common multiple. If I was going to say the 5 times table, those would have been multiples of 5. If I was going to say the 10 times table, those would have been multiples of 10. If I was going to say the 6 times table, those would have been multiples of 6. So I want to find a common number that is in the 5 times table, the 10 times table, and the 6 times table. It is called a common multiple. But I want to find the first one, because you can find more than one common multiple, but we want the first one. So because we're looking for the first one, it is called the lowest common multiple. So I'm going to be using my 10 times table. The first number in my 10 times table is 10. It's in the 5 times table, but it's not in the 6 times table. Then I have 20. 20 is in the 5 times table, the 10 times table, but it's not in the 6 times table, so I can't use that one. I have 30. 30 is in the 10 times table, the 5 times table, and the 6 times table, so I can use that one. So I'm going to make them out of 30. Now I can go ahead to work my answer. What do I do to 5 to get to 30? 5 times 6. So I times the top by 6 as well. That gives us 12. What do I do to 10 to get to 30? Times by 3. So I times the top by 3, just like I do in equivalent fractions. What do I do to 6 to get to 30? Times by 5. So I times the top by 5, just like I do in equivalent fraction. Now I'm going to put back my addition sign. Here I have 9 plus 5 plus 12. And 9 plus 5 plus 12, 9 and 5 is 14, 15, 16. That's going to give us 26 out of 30. So here we have, that's going to give us 26 out of 30. We could leave our answer there, but it could also ask us to cancel it down to the simplest. Canceling means we're going to be dividing. What number can divide this and it can divide that? Here, this ends with a 6 and a 0. That ends with a 0, so I know 2 can be used. 26 divided by 2 is 13. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So my answer is 26 out of 30, but if you're asked to cancel it down to the simplest form, it's 13 out of 15. let's look at this new question. Again, we're adding 1/3, 1/8, and 1/4. They do not have the same denominator. So remember, for you to add fractions, you must make them the same denominator. So I'm going to make them the same denominator. I'm going to be starting the 8 times table. So the first number that I can see in the 8 times table is also in the 3 times table, and the 4 times table is going to be 24. So now I'm going to make my fractions out of 24. 3 into 24 is 8, so I times the bottom by 8, I times the top by 8. 8 into 24 is 3, so I times the bottom by 3, I times the top by 3. 4 into 24 is 6, I times the bottom by 6, I times the top by 6. Now, all I need to do is to add the top numbers. 6 and 3, 9, 9 and 8, 17. So my answer is 17 out of 24. Now let's look at another question. 4 out of 5 plus 1 out of 10 plus 1 out of 15. Again, they do not have the same denominator. So to add fractions, they must have the same denominator. So we're going to use the biggest denominator and search that times table for a number that is in the rest of the times table, the rest of the denominators. So let's find that number. 15, the first number in the 15 times table is 15. It's in the 5 times table, but not in the 10 times table. The second number in the 15 times table is 30. 30 is in the 10 times table, and it's in the 5 times table. So we're going to be using 30. Now we're going to be doing equivalent fractions. What do I do to 5 to get to 30? Times it by 6, so I times the top number by 6. What do I do from 10 to get to 30? Times it by 3, so I times the top number by 3. What do I do from 15 to get to 30? Times it by 2, so I times the top number by 2. Now I can add my fractions. 24 plus 3 is 27, plus 2 is 29. So my answer is 29 out of 30. So what did we look at in this lesson? We looked at adding fractions. And to add fractions, it's important to understand equivalent fractions. So we say to add fractions, the denominators must be the same. So 1 out of 4 plus 2 out of 4, that's very easy because the denominators are already the same. We just need to keep that 4. 2 plus 1 is 3, so we have 3 out of 4. 1 out of 6 plus 1 out of 6 plus 3 out of 6, that's easy. 2 plus 1 is going to give you 5 out of 6. The denominators are the same, so that's quite easy. Now, we looked at when the denominators are not the same. So 1 out of 3 plus 1 out of 4 plus 2 out of 6. Let's look at this number. If we're going to be looking at this, the denominators are not the same. So we can't just add the top numbers. We have to try and make the denominators the same. So we're going to be looking at the biggest denominator. In this case is 6. And we're going to search the 6 times table for a number that we see in the 6 times table, the 4 times table, and the 3 times table. That number is 12. Now we're going to do equivalent fractions. 3 to 12 times by 4, so I times that by 4. That gives us 4. 4 to 12 times that by 3, times that by 3, so that gives us 3. 6 to 12 times that by 2, times that by 2, so that gives us 4. Now we can add 4 and 4, 8, 8 and 3 is 11, so our answer is 11 out of 12. Now, I'm going to leave you with one question that I'd like you to try for yourself. 4 out of 8 plus 1 out of 5 plus 2 out of 10. Now, when you're finished with that, you should get the answer 36 out of 40. Have a go at it and see if you get that as your answer. Hope this helps. Thank you very much.
If you not have no education, people treat you like